Hey everybody, hope you're doing all right today. Today I want to talk about something that comes up a lot, and that is your blind spots. So we all have blind spots, and when you think of blind spots, what is it that you think about? So there's a few different meanings for blind spots, right? Like actually thinking about it as far as your vision goes, that is where your receptors are unable to basically translate an image. And so that can be where, hey everybody, thanks for joining today. And that could be where it's truly blocking your vision when you have blind spots, if you think about the kind of anatomy of it, right? Then there's other phrases where you're talking about driving a car. It could be in any vehicle, right? You're driving and there's your blind spot behind you. You're not able to see who's in that little corner because of the angles and how they're trying to kind of pass you where you can't see them, right? So that's dangerous. So when we talk about blind spots, what I'm going to talk about today is, what about those blind spots that are happening for you in your everyday life? So what are the things that you're struggling with because you can't see them clearly, right? So a lot of times I think about this in terms of romantic relationships. So, we may be really excited about somebody when we first meet them, might be very attracted to them, and then all of a sudden we notice maybe some things that kind of give us pause, but we don't really kind of investigate them further. So they may be red flags to us. So when you're thinking about those red flags, you may ignore those early on in a relationship and then keep going. And those would be kind of our blind spots. We don't really want to see, or we don't really want to acknowledge that those things are there. And they may be kind of dangerous going forward if we don't look at those. So, some blind spots can be, if you think about it in everyday life, can be that you're not being flexible or open to change. So for me, I think in my career, this has been one of the most difficult things, because when people are usually coming to me, they're in need of some sort of change or support, right? So when they are coming with this blind spot of not being flexible or open to that change, or thinking they need to change at all, that can cause some serious difficulty, because you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to acknowledge there's an issue in order to move forward and make those positive changes that you want in your life. So for example, I have somebody that I know who has a difficult coworker, and this difficult coworker doesn't necessarily want to take feedback from other people. They don't want to learn the new technology. They don't really kind of care about the new policies and procedures that are being put in place at work. I mean, we all might know people like this, right? And so this causes them to, as they're part of a team, they're really slowing down the team, because they're not taking the feedback, they're not taking those constructive criticism, those action steps to improve. They're not following what they need to do to kind of help the team function at its best. So, it really kind of causes them to slow the team down. They have their own negative reputation now. And then because people are frustrated and they're trying to communicate with this person, they may respond being kind of nasty or rude because they're also upset. They don't want to change in the first place, and then they don't want this negative feedback on top of it. So it can be very difficult when, for everybody in the environment. Hey, Aaliyah, nice to see you. It can be difficult for everybody in that environment when somebody does not want to change, right? So that could be a painful one. I think another blind spot that we have, especially as women, believing the lies that we tell ourselves. So, we may look at a project or a task or something that we really want to do, start a business, go on a vacation, whatever that is, and we may tell ourselves things like, it's too hard, it's impossible, it's too expensive, it's too stressful. Whatever that might be, we kind of string this narrative along that it is too something out of our reach. And, I want to call BS on that, because I don't think that that's true. We need to kind of really be paying attention to what we're saying to ourselves and making sure that we come with a positive and a constructive narrative. So that could be a blind spot for us, is really believing those difficult things. I have an example of somebody who had their high school diploma, and I think that might have been it for as far as formal education, and they have a multi-million-dollar business. And that's because, you know, they're not settling, they're not believing those lies that it's too hard. I need more education for this, I need that to do what I want to do. No, they're not believing that, and so they're successful, right? So that is a blind spot for us as humans, also as women in particular, I think. I think another thing to kind of think about in terms of blind spots is not thinking that you matter. So I think especially, again, for women, we have the tendency to kind of discount our voice, our opinion, our thoughts, our abilities, our strengths even, and that can be from a variety of different reasons. Maybe the way that we've grown up, maybe it's the systems that we have been seeing all of our life. You know, male leaders, males in charge kind of a thing. So sometimes that, you know, really weighs on us, not really believing that we can make that difference. And it's definitely getting better and more pronounced now. But, you know, I've heard a lot of women also say, you know, things like maybe my voice doesn't carry the weight that I want to. I can't communicate what I want to. You know, or maybe it's something that they need to be vocal about. They need to make a report, or they need to share, right? I don't need to speak up. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, it is. Your voice impacts not only yourself, but everybody that it touches. You are an influencer, whether you know that or not. So even if you have one friend, even if you have one person that you speak to, you are an influence over that person. So your voice matters. Your voice does have weight and importance, and you matter. So those are kind of some of the blind spots. The biggest one that I always see with anybody, but again, especially women, is fear. So what is fear doing to hold you back? You know, sometimes we have many questions when we're afraid. We put up a lot of roadblocks. We put up a lot of excuses. What are the repercussions if I do this? You know, we might be too scared about that. What will people say about me? So that fear of judgment can really hold people back from doing something, living that life that they want. What if I actually succeed? So that one's a little more tricky, because we don't kind of think about fear and what if we win. It's more of what if we fail. So we got to really pay attention to our blind spots. And, you know, I encourage everybody to do that this week, today. Just kind of be noticing what might come up for you. What is a block? What is something that is coming up for you, maybe blocking you from moving the next step forward? So I want you to think about that. And also, if you can think of other blind spots. So I just listed about, 4 or so blind spots. So if you can think of other common blind spots that you might have, or you know other people have, feel free to put those in the comments. I'd love to learn more about that and just kind of see what you guys think and what you guys can come up with, because everybody has their own. They're all different, right? So thanks for kind of tuning in, checking in, and I hope that this was helpful for you. And stay tuned for more, and weekly there'll be more content for you to check out. So have a great week and be well.